Peace and love, brothers and sisters, and thank you for tuning in to the Cozmo Show. Today we are presenting Moorish Science for Dummies, Part 2. Part 1 of this series was a collection of works, Creative Commons works by Hakeem Bey, Taj Tariq Bey, myself, and a sister that I stumbled across online called Whitney Harris. I received a comment regarding the factual nature of the information in Part 1 of this series. The Inquisitor suggested that perhaps I should change the name from Moorish Science for Dummies because, as far as they were concerned, they didn't see it representing Moorish science and there was no Moorish science in it at all. Let me start by saying I don't get into the habit of defending other people's works. However, since I did share the information, I will highlight some areas that confused our viewer. I'll start with the information that was presented by me. A piece of a clip of the Thanksgiving for Whom video, which you can view on this site, was mixed in with the other Creative Commons. I will start with this one because this is the closest to actually being one of my works. I did not write the article Thanksgiving for Whom, I merely recited it. However, is it Moorish? The article comes from the Moorish Guide National Edition, which was a Moorish newspaper of its day. In fact, you can go on worthpoint.com and see that the Moorish Guide National Edition was sold at auction. The owner boasted to have 7 copies and they were sold online 6/24/2010 on eBay. The owner documented the circulation of this newspaper from 1928 to 1929, and it is well known in the Moorish community. The article was written by Brother Ibrahim Khalilullah, and I've had this article in my possession for over 20 years. The article states that on November 25th, 1491, after a long bloody fight against the Moors, who occupied Spain for over 700 years, King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella of Spain fell upon their knees and gave thanks to Santiago for their victory over the Moors. The viewers seem to think, and I quote, "Thanksgiving has nothing to do with the Moors' surrender. On November 25th, 1491, the Treaty of Boabdil, the Sultan of Granada, and Ferdinand and Isabella, the King and Queen of Castile, Leon, Aragon, and Sicily, was just that, a treaty that only ended the Granada War, which had started in 1482. He also states that historians gave it the false name Capitulation of Granada, but this was simply not the case. The complete requisition of Granada to the Europeans did not happen until January 1492, and that whoever is narrating the video is not relying on fact based on historical information. Unfortunately, my viewer is incorrect. True, the War of Granada did start in 1482. However, the date of November 25th, 1491 has everything to do with the surrender of the war. Perhaps my viewer is confusing the Granada War with the Battle of Granada. It is the Battle of Granada that is referred to in this article by Brother Ibrahim Khalilullah. But I'll get to that in a minute. The historical information and reference that I can provide comes from The Story of the Moors in Spain by Stanley Lane Poe. On page 266, he states that on November 25th of 1491, the Act of Capitulation was signed. However, let us look further into this date of November 25th, 1491. The Battle of Granada, not to be confused with the Granada War, was the last decisive battle in the Granada War. The Battle of Granada started in the spring of 1491. In the book Lost Islamic History by Firas al-Khatib, Faris states that by the end of 1491, the city of Granada was surrounded by Ferdinand and Isabella's army. From the towers of his palace, Alhambra, Muhammad could see the huge Christian armies assembling and preparing to conquer the city. With this depressing future in sight, Muhammad was forced to sign the treaty which gave over control to the city in 1491, November. On January 2nd, 1492, the treaty took effect and the Spanish armies entered Granada. After the Battle of Granada, resulting in provisional surrender, the Treaty of Granada was signed on November 25, 1491, which granted 2 months to the city, according to Wikipedia, or any standard encyclopedia for that matter. So we see that the date of 1492 was merely a formality of turning over the city, but the victory had already been secured based on the Battle of Granada, which started in the spring of 1491 and ended on November 25th, 1491. For the sake of time, Moorish Science for Dummies will be broken into several parts. Join me next time as I will be going into the origin of the proverbial turkey and its connection with Moors. Also, is the upside down pyramid in a circle really a circle 7? Stay tuned. Thank you for watching. Peace, love, and all the above.